I still need to fix my orbit. It's not stable enough yet, but don't worry about it. We're going to raise this periapsis until it is above the ISS's orbit. You'll see why we're doing that. So APTs 34, 33, 20, 10. Yeah, we're here. So we're going to prograde burn, as you know, because I want to raise my periapsis, which is now over here. Am I already prograde? Yes, I am. Okay, so I'm going to burn. I'm going to raise until there is no intersection here. Okay, no intersection. Good, that's what we want. Now, as we went over in our flight plan, we are going to align planes. But first, remember I'm prograde, I want to use my retros. Because I want there to just barely be an intersection here at my periapsis. So I'm going to tap my retros. So if you take this manual throttle over here and move it down into the red, that's retros. You need the retro doors open. Remember, we had those closed for liftoff. So open. Blinky, blinky. They're open. So I'm just going to tap them. Be very careful not to grab either side of the handle. Make sure you grab in the middle so you move them both. You'll notice that I'm being very careful. What we're doing is we're going to, at whatever point my orbit intersects with theirs, is the point that I'm going to meet with them at. So what I have to do is I have to make sure that that point, we're not really moving vertically too much. So by making us ease into each other, I don't really have to worry about that too much. I'll be able to neutralize my velocity just fine. There we go. So I have an intersection. Now, we got very, very lucky because we happened to end up with a decently close orbit. But I still need to align planes. Now, let me explain what this is from the beginning, because you saw I'd kind of played with it before. I didn't tell you what I was doing. Align planes. No, I'm sorry. Sync orbit. Len will change how many of these orbits display. I'll explain that in a bit. Set it to 10. At the point where I chose intercept, which for me happens to be intersect 1, you can change which of those you use by pressing mod here. Just use intersect 1 if you are careful about it. Now that's telling me how long it's going to take me to get to that point on which number orbit. So on the 6th orbit, it's going to take me 38.29k to get there, and it's going to take them 38.25k for them to get to that point. I'm going to change when I get there by raising and lowering my apoapsis so it takes longer and shorter for me to go around this circle. Because it looks like I get there a little slower, I'm going to want to raise the apoapsis just a little bit. But first, we need to align our planes. So align planes. I'm going to target the ISS, which I already did. Now it appears my descending node is very close to my periapsis. So this is going to get a little interesting. So as I approach my descending node, it's probably going to want me to be orbit normal positive. At descending it wants positive, at ascending it wants negative. Remember that. That is if your relative inclination is a positive number, not a negative one. So it wants me to engage orbit normal positive as predicted. Remember, I don't really have to use a whole lot of thrust here because I was careful about it. I'm only dealing with like a 5-degree difference, which is pretty cool. You'll notice it's also going to warn you down here on sync orbit multifunction display. It's also going to warn you about your relative inclination, because if your inclination's wrong, you're not going to meet. Now, once this number gets oh so close to 0, I'm going to stop worrying about it. There we go. Okay, so now that that's done, how close am I to periapsis? Oh wow, look how close I am. So I'm going to be prograde. Remember, I need to slow down, or rather make myself take longer to get here. So I'm going to very slightly increase my apoapsis. So let's time warp up to that periapsis, which guess what I'm here. This I'm going to be very gentle with. I'm looking for this number to become identical to this number. So 35.6 needs to become 35.53. Alright, looks like I'm going to use retros for that. That was bizarre. That's not how that's supposed to work. (5.2) versus 5.1. That's acceptable. So now what I'm going to do, notice relative inclination is now green. I don't really have to worry about it. I'm just going to go ahead and warp forward to that. And I'm going to do a final correction at somewhere close to the orbit 1. (81 and 80), that's still pretty good. I don't really need to correct that a whole lot. But I'm going to try anyway. So I'm already after my periapsis, so I'm going to turn prograde. I'm just going to play with that a little bit. 5.93 needs to become 5.78. Okay, looks like it needs to become 5.6. Alright, let's undo that because now apparently I don't have an intersection. Alright, we're going to work with that. This is going to be a little more difficult, but we can do it. Now notice we're getting very close to each other. We're pretty much right on top of this. So here's what we're going to do. Press F4. You can't see what I'm doing here, but go to Object Info. Under Object, it's going to say Camera Target. You want to go down to Vessel. You want to select specifically ISS, and you're going to see that its transponder is 131.3. Select COM Nav. We're going to set our various radios to the radio for the ISS transponder and the radio for the specific docking port transponder. So we want 131.3. There we go. You see that I have signal from XPDR ISS. If I scroll down a little bit, I want to use specifically docking port 1, which we see is 137. SL Plus will move to a different radio. 137. 100.4. I see I have no signal yet because I'm not close enough for that transponder. But if I go to docking, you'll see, oh wow, what's all this? I'll explain this when we get close enough that it's going to matter. Alright, we're approaching our rendezvous point, and it's about 155 kilometers away. Okay, we're there. Press HUD. It's going to give you an idea of where the ISS is, and it's going to tell me my nose cone is closed. Click this to open it. We're going to turn towards VISS. That is, it's pointing me relative to the ISS the direction I'm going. I want to neutralize that. I want to make that 0. Remember, retros are key in this. CVEL is how comparative velocity, how fast I'm going towards the ISS. Distance is how far away I am from ISS. I want to wait for CVEL to become 0 or negative. Once it becomes negative, I'm going to neutralize that. Because if I can coast the way I am now, I'm not really going to worry about it. So let's time warp a little bit. Okay, it's negative. So we're going to find this. We are now less than 100 kilometers away from ISS. We're going to play around a little bit and we're going to... Alright, so boosting made my CVEL more negative. I'm going to use my retros to start neutralizing that. And once CVEL becomes 0, remember to keep your mouse over kill rotation. You can screw this up very easily that way.